First tonight, when we were kids, we'd all draw, color, make up stories, and of course play pretend. We would, in short, let our imaginations run free.
As we got older, most of us gave up those activities, but thankfully, not everyone does, such as the man you are about to meet. When Mort Todd was growing up in Yarmouth, it wasn't hard to figure out what he'd be doing in his spare time. Usually, he was engrossed in a comic book.
I got into like horror comics, crime comics, romance, Christian comics, everything. I would just read everything.
Just devoured it all.
Yep.
When did you actually start doing your own drawing and writing?
About the same time.
He was lucky as a kid because his grandfather had a print shop in town.
So there was tons of paper, so I could take home reams of paper and just like draw constantly.
At the age of 12, he was working as a junior counselor at Camp Wawanock in Brunswick and actually getting paid to put out the camp's weekly newspaper.
Would draw the covers and, write all the content and doodle and everything. And then during the off months, when they didn't have camp, I was like, you don't really need that printing machine, do you? In between. So I took it home and I'd print my own comics and stuff.
Before he got out of high school, he knew writing and illustrating stories was what he wanted to do. Todd moved to New York City at 17, started getting work, sold his first screenplay at 18, and eventually became the editor of the satirical humor magazine Cracked, which was selling hundreds of thousands of copies a month. Mort Todd was 23 years old. Was it awkward at times to deal with these established writers and illustrators when you were 23 years old and the editor calling the shots?
No, the only people that were concerned were people that didn't have confidence in their own work.
About 10 years ago, realizing he could work from anywhere, Todd left New York and moved back to Maine.
Whether it's animation or drawing, I still like to do the original pen and ink on paper and then do all the finishes on the computer.
At his studio in Portland, the creations come to life.
You need to know what you want before you do your finishes on it.
He has worked on so many projects.
Oh, this is another poster I did with the Portland Lighthouse with some visitors.
Animation, advertising, newspaper illustrations, band posters, music videos, record covers, even MTV and Sesame Street. And the stories about them come tumbling out.
This is another weird project I got. This is a documentary that I produced about 10 years ago. And what it is, it's based on these books I've been putting out, which are photo comics. And they're Italian from the 1960s.
Do you have a barn, a warehouse somewhere that contains physical copies of all the stuff that you've done?
I got a couple, yeah.
I mean, you must have an enormous amount of material.
I would say an insane amount.
When drawing, he likes to listen to music, usually movie soundtracks.
Then you can draw with some flourish, like right on.
Todd's latest project is a book called Monsters Attack, a reprint of 5 issues of a short-lived horror magazine he created and edited in the 1980s.
And again, this all takes me back to Portland because I used to take karate lessons down by Monument Square, and there was a big smoke shop that had a big magazine stand, and they had a lot of magazines that never made it to Yarmouth, including Famous Monsters, and every cover just had a giant painting of a monster, and I was like, yeah! So that's what I emulated for Monsters Attack.
The freewheeling imagination of a child never got snuffed out in Mort Todd. He's still doing what he loved to do as a kid decades ago, writing, drawing, making up stories. How would you describe your artistic sensibility?
Nutty? I don't know. It's like, I've always been into the weird stuff, so, the humor and horror.
Have you enjoyed being back in Maine?
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, the first thing I noticed is when you meet people, they're not like, what's in it for me? Because in New York, everyone you meet, at a party or anywhere, it's like, I do this. What can you do for me? And here, it's just like, people are people. I'm the only one who goes like, what can you do for me?
Artists who draw comic books don't have the luxury of sitting around for days waiting for inspiration to strike. They work, and they work fast. While we were in his studio, Todd started and finished this drawing. And with that, it's on to the next project. As we mentioned, the name of the new book he edited is Mort Todd's Monsters Attack. And when he sent me a copy a few weeks ago, I opened it up and The drawing on the inside was accompanied by this inscription. Hi, Rob. So here's my question, Amanda. I'm not clear. Is that a picture of me, or is that a self-portrait that Mort did of himself?
I think neither. I think it's a creature from my nightmares. And if it was saying, hi, Amanda, I think I would feel very uneasy.
Well,
It knows who you are.
he's just one of those guys, the ideas just pour out of him. And it's just so fun. And he's done so much. And, you know, not just writing, not just the illustrating, but all the other stuff as well. And so it's just a hoot. I mean, he's obviously a great talker, and he's got a lot of stories, and he's highly entertaining.
I am so thankful that people like that exist, people who held on to that imagination and creativity. It's great.
Yeah.